Hey everybody, Mark and I are back here with another one of our videos, recordings, and we are launching our When We Pray prayer and fasting campaign. So of course, who else would I have come be a part of this than our prayer and fasting expert, Mark Powell Freeman. How's it going, bud? You doing good?
It's great, man.
It's good.
It's great.
It's good. You feeling all right?
I got a little
you hanging in there?
Little something
hanging
going on
in there?
today. Yeah, all right though.
All right, so we talked about this on Sunday, and we're launching it today. Why don't we just pretend maybe there's some people out there don't even know what this is? What is it? Where did this idea come from? Just give us the big picture details.
Yeah, kind of the origin. Our elder group. Just the more that we talked about it, we felt like that the Lord was really leading us towards maybe a time of some real focused prayer and direction towards Him. Some even including some fasting, which is something that the Grove. It's not that we've had a lot of those in the past or something that we've done real often. It's definitely something that biblically we see that picture of these times set aside for some focused prayer and attention to seek God for some specific things. And building up to Easter, it felt like this was just a really, really good time. We've also had several of our series that have talked more about seeking God. Our Sabbath series, just the study for that was really impactful for me. But the idea that we rest and can trust Him,
right?
And we stop and recognize how big He is and how small we are.
Right.
A time like this where we do that, building up to this incredible celebration of Easter. Of Easter seems like it.
Creaster?
It makes
Creaster? Is that what we're going for?
Actually, my twins keep on getting confused. They think Jesus is having a birthday coming up.
Maybe it's his half birthday.
Maybe so. They're hoping they get some of that. But yeah, so we're just really excited about that. The more we've thought about it and prepped for it, it's just feels like God is calling us to something.
Yeah, so we've like I said, we've connected it with the lead up to Easter, which this period today is actually Ash Wednesday, which historically for a lot of more traditional churches kind of sets off a season called Lent, where the church really does kind of have this focused time of prayer and fasting all the way leading up to Easter. So as we think specifically, there's lots of different types of focus that you could have in a prayer campaign. Let's say that we do this and we follow the guide and we figure out what fasting is and do some of that or whatever, and we do all of this. What are our goals? What are we hoping that we're going to see happen maybe in our lives or collectively in the body?
Yeah, there's really kind of three things that we're looking at here. One, just personally, that over these days we would really stop and recognize who God is and connect with Him in a deeper way, take extra time maybe than what we normally would to do that, to connect with Him in prayer and in His Word. The guide that we've prepared is really going to be set for that, to give us a little bit deeper focus there. Maybe the second thing is just our Grove Church community, and that God would give us more unity and connection. And, as we talked about before, that's supernatural. And so this time of prayer and fasting is asking Him to do the supernatural among us and make us love one another more than ourselves, which is just impossible unless He does it. So this time of asking Him to do it, and then having a deeper heart for the people maybe outside and around the world, our neighbor, and what it would look like to reach out to them, which has been our series here recently with these conversations that Jesus is having. So so ourselves, our church community, and then our neighbor.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we've been talking about prayer and fasting, and then you add prayer. Most people know what prayer is, have some idea about it. And then you say fasting, and people start to twitch a little bit. So I'm going to ask you this trivia question. Do you know why breakfast is called breakfast?
Ooh. That's a great question. I love breakfast. It's my favorite meal.
Take that word, break it into two words. What is it?
Eat fast.
Break.
Oh.
Break.
Break.
Break the fast.
Oh.
So fasting is typically what it means is that...
You Googled that this morning, didn't
No!
you? Yes.
Dude, I know stuff! Maybe I'm the expert.
Maybe so.
Maybe I'm the expert.
You just took the crown.
Exactly. Yeah, so fasting typically means like to not eat for a period of time. And so at some point at dinner, you whether you think of it as a fast or not, you are fasting. You're not eating, and then you wake up the next morning and you break your fast, breakfast, right? Okay, and so that's what fasting is at its simplest, is to not eat for a period of time. And so typically there's different types of fasts that people will do, where you're like, maybe it's like you're gonna, like, there's fasts that are like every day for a period of time, but not the whole day. Like I'm gonna fast for 12 hours a day. I'm not going to eat from 6 to 6, or maybe I'm going to eat from 6 to noon, or like 12, 14, 16, 18-hour periods. Some people are like, I'm going to not eat anything for a number of days, 2 days, 3 days, a week, or something like that. And there's also kind of more specific fasts that aren't necessarily, I'm not eating at all, but we've kind of taken fasting to mean I'm going to take a break from a particular something. So I'm not going to eat desserts for a period of time. I'm not going to play a game. I'm not going to watch TV. I'm going to get off of social media. I'm going to do something like that for a period of time. And that's typically what people do during this Lent time, which is at some point between starting now and the end, when Easter comes, there is something that you are going to completely withdraw from. And so we're not necessarily, if we say we want you to fast, we're not necessarily picking one of those over all the other ones. I mean, if you wanted to have a specific thing that you did for the whole 40, if you wanted to say, hey, I'm going to extend not just from when I go to sleep and when I wake up, I'm going to fast. I'm going to skip breakfast. I'm going to skip lunch. I'm going to skip dinner every day, or maybe I want to one particular day a week I'm going to fast, and there's any number of things that you can do. But then the question is, well, why do you do it? And really the biggest idea behind it is, I'm not going to do something that I normally would do. And when I think about it, and like this is when I would normally do it, that's right, I'm not eating lunch today. Why am I not eating lunch today? Oh, it's because of this. And so then I make that some intense time of prayer and focus on Jesus. And so then during the time when I would normally have lunch, I'm going to spend that time in prayer and focused thought about who Jesus is, and Easter, looking at the prayer guide or whatever. I mean, I just very recently came off a sort of fast where there are a handful of things that I gave up for an indefinite period of time, all the way up until our house sold in Cabot. And so I started some of these things. It was like 4 to 6 months of just intentional fasting from certain habits and fun things that I would do, and then I would think about it all the time. Oh yeah, I don't do that anymore. And then I would say, God, will you please sell this house? So this has a spiritual component, is to just a focus on Jesus. And so I fast from something. And then the idea of it is I'm experiencing some loss, which reminds me of what Jesus sacrificed for me. Then I have that focus on Him. So what else? Like what else should I expect? That if I'm going to fast from something or have some periods of fasting over the next 5 weeks, what kind of things should they expect?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is if it's a little bit painful, it's something that's such a part of your routine. I mean, the reason why food is kind of the normal thing that you immediately go to is because, man, it kind of triggers this. I'm hungry. I mean, you hit noon, man, I'm ready to chow. So that pain comes, and I go, right. Oh man. So if it's something that there's a little bit of that, it just triggers that, man, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna do this, and recognize that, like, this thing that has given some life to me, or I'm kind of gone to fill some part of me. If I set that aside and I replace it with this thing that this Jesus, and seeking Him and letting Him fill that gap. I mean, the rewards of that are insane. I mean, the promise is, if you'll seek me, you'll find me. If you'll knock, I'll open them. There's this real promise that seeking and yearning for Him, that He listens and answers. Not that He doesn't answer our prayers anyway, but there's just something really powerful about it. And again, I mean, it's just repeated so much in the Scriptures that there's definitely a picture of that. And even in this, when we pray, that's taken from Matthew chapter 6.
Right.
And just after it, There's when he says when you pray,
Right.
and then he also says when you fast. So some expectation, but then with both of them, the expectation is that you're not going to make a big show of it, or the point isn't to get affection from men, but to stop and really give all your attention to God.
Yeah, I think I like what you said there. It's like if I seek Jesus a little bit, I will experience Jesus a little bit. But if we were to take some time over these next 5-6 weeks, it's like I'm going to give some intense focus and some deeper seeking into Jesus. What I should expect is just a deeper, more powerful encounter. Like you said, people see great prayers answered during this time. They see a real great connection with God, connection with others, and God's going to open, I think, some windows for us to have some great interactions with people who are far from Him. I think we'll be really pleasantly surprised by the number of testimonies of things that people weren't expecting, but just come from a new closeness with God.
Yeah, Charlie, at least in my experience, that any time that I show desperation, then I'm really at the end of myself. And Jesus, I really need you. Which fasting and this kind of focus on prayer, that's what this is. I'm desperate. Man, He's just so good to meet us there,
That's good.
We were just even talking about with the staff about how these conversations have been that. When the people are desperate and realize that they're hopeless without Him, He meets those people. But the people who think they kind of got it figured out, and, He just seems to kind of, you just stay with that. See how that works for you.
That's good. Well, man, we encourage you guys. Again, these things are the guides will come out every Wednesday on Facebook and our email. Encourage you to follow along and to pray with us every day, and to find some way to participate in fasting, to sacrifice something over the next few weeks to kind of help you with this deeper connection with God. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. You guys have a great rest of the day, great rest of the week.